Welcome back to the AlloutBlitz podcast. This is episode 2, and I'm back with my co-host Kyle.
Yes,
Today's
sir.
episode, we'll discuss the Jamal Adams situation, Patrick Mahomes possibly getting a new deal that'll break the bank, Jadeveon Clowney, and a couple other small little notes regarding certain developments around the NFL. All right, Kyle. So news came out that the Jets would be willing to trade Jamal Adams for a first and a third round pick. It has also been said that he would give a hometown discount to sign long term if he's traded to the Dallas Cowboys. However, the Cowboys don't want him. That's kind of questionable to me. What do you think?
I think that no one will trade for Jamal Adams because the asking price is too high. I mean, yes, a year ago, Jalen Ramsey got traded for 2 first-round picks, but I feel that Jamal Adams will stay on the Jets and hopefully he will sign long term because he's a very good player. I don't know why the Jets would want to give him up. And I don't know what the Cowboys are doing. I think that it would be good for them to trade for Jamal Adams because they have no real safeties right now. Yeah, and that's it. Slime Boy, I don't know.
In my opinion, Jamal Adams is the best safety in the league. So I think teams would be stupid not to trade a first and a third round pick for him. I mean, if you want a guy that's going to be a game changer on the defensive side of the football, first and a third is worth that. I mean,
Yes,
he's
sir.
definitely better than a lot of the first round talents that are going to be coming in. And a third round pick, yeah, that's probably going to be a starter, but it also could not be a starter. So it's just, I think it's worth it to go trade for him. I also think that it's stupid that the Cowboys would not want him, considering their safety situation is not the greatest. I mean, I think they have Clinton Dix and Xavier Woods. I mean, that's
That's elite.
serviceable, but Xavier Woods, he's nothing special. So I think that if they went out and traded for Adams, especially considering that he's said that he would sign long term with them, I think that'd be a great move for them. And considering that how great of an offseason they've had, I don't know why they wouldn't do that. I mean, I know they got the Dak contract going on, and that's up in the air. But if you want to shore up the defensive side of the football, trading for Adams would be very beneficiary.
Their defense would be pretty elite too if they get Adams. I mean, they already
Yeah, they
have a
got
pretty good front seven.
they have a really good front seven, and they drafted Trayvon Diggs. You know, Adams would really shore up that defensive side of football, really make that defense complete. But I
Yeah,
honestly don't think he's going to get traded anywhere. However, if I'm someone like, I don't know, the Seahawks, where the safety position isn't the best, and they don't draft well anyway, so might as well give up the picks. I mean, they need some secondary help. They have Quandre Diggs and they have Bradley McDougald. They're okay, but Diggs plays, all over the field, and Kendrick Thompson is horrible. So they could just trade for Jamal Adams. I think that'd be a good trade.
I mean, if a team really needs a safety, they're dumb not trading a first and a third for Jamal Adams. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. I mean, you're not gonna find him like anywhere else in the league. Like that type of player is very rare. I mean, Isaiah Simmons is kind of the same, but not really, because Isaiah Simmons plays like anywhere in the field. And, I mean, Jamal Adams probably could, but I don't know. I feel like the Cowboys should trade for him. It's kind of stupid not to. I mean, I guess they have like the whole cap situation going on. They might not be able to pay him, but he did say he would take the lower contract, which I don't know. The Cowboys are stupid for not trading for him.
Yeah, and you saw what happened with the Minka trade. I mean,
Yeah,
Minka, he didn't like his situation in Pittsburgh or in Miami. Pittsburgh went out and traded for him. Their safeties were awful, and with like Terrell Edmonds and whoever else they had out there.
some randoms.
And now they became probably the best defensive team in the league, trading for Minka, having that guy back there. I mean, Minka and Jamal Adams are completely different players. They play completely different positions, but it's just something about that element of that game changing player that you just need to go out and risk the investment of. Cowboys are already a great drafting team, so they make well out of their later round picks. So why not give up a third round pick? I mean, it's just
Stupid.
It's just simple to me. Like, if I'm Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, I'm making that call. I don't really know what they're doing. And on the Jets side of the thing, you got to do your like that's been your best pick of the decade by far. I don't know what they're doing, saying openly stating that they would trade him. Like that's just a bad decision on my part. But you have anything else to add, Kyle?
I got nothing else. I think that the Cowboys are stupid for not picking or making the trade, and the Jets. I mean, they have to keep that player for long. I mean, that player is just too good.
That would make the most sense to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, Adam Schefter reported that Jadeveon Clowney turned down the Browns' offer, and apparently it was the highest amount of money that he had been offered yet. It was pretty aggressive. The Browns have come out saying that they want him. However, Jadeveon has no interest in playing in Cleveland and clearly wants to play for a contender, and that's what he stated. And clearly he doesn't view that city or that team as a contender. So really don't know what Clowney's going for here. He's a great player. He's great at production. You know, the sacks aren't necessarily there, but that's not always the best metric to determine how great a defensive lineman is. When he's healthy, he's a dominant force. However, he has trouble staying healthy, but he wants to play for a contender. And in my opinion, the only places that he would go to are Seattle or not Miami, Baltimore.
I think that Jadeveon wants to get the money, of course. You know, that was his main thing this offseason, and playing for a contender. And I guess Cleveland, I mean, the whole situation they have going on, they're a pretty good team, but just Baker is just not doing it for him, I guess. And then I think Jadeveon could go to the Ravens, depending on how low he wants. How low Jadeveon will go. But overall, I think that he might just go back to Seattle. But he did get his number taken already, so I don't know how that one would go. And with the Ravens, I don't know. I think that they just don't have enough cap for him because his asking price might be too high. Honestly, I just don't know about Clowney. I don't know where he's gonna go. I don't know.
I know Tennessee wants him, but if he wants to play for a contender, I don't
Yeah,
really see Tennessee fitting that description.
I mean
So yeah,
maybe.
Clowney at his asking price, I think if he lowered it like a couple million, say 15 million rather than 18 or 17 or whatever he wants, like somewhere in the 14, 15 range, I think teams would be all over that because he's such a dominant force when he plays. But the risk of him getting injured and I don't know, teams don't want to pay 18 million a year for that.
I mean, I don't blame him for not willing to pay for that much for Jadeveon. I mean, he's a great player and all, but he's gotten hurt before, and I guess the sacks aren't there, yeah, but he does pressure the QB pretty well. But I still just don't see a team paying 18 million plus for him. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Dolphins made an offer for him.
Yeah, I think they offered him like 17, 16, 17 million at the beginning of free agency, and he didn't want that, so they just went out and got Manny Ogba and Shaq Lawson instead, which I think are two very underrated players that could make a huge difference for the Dolphins.
I mean, I don't blame the Dolphins for taking back their contract, or if it got declined, then whatever. I mean, the Dolphins aren't contenders anyway. I mean, they're a good young team. They only need Jadeveon.
Yeah, they just kind of want to build what they already have.
I don't blame them. I mean, a few years down the road, you see them in the playoffs, you know?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, Flores is a great coach. Hopefully, they can just continue what they have going there. All right. Before we get to the Mahomes contract situation, a couple little tidbits here and there. Jalen Ramsey stated that he will not hold out and expresses some interest in playing multiple positions. However, John Johnson III and Taylor Rapp are a pretty solid safety tandem, so I don't really know where he sees himself playing. But also, some new rule additions happened. Now, 3 players can return off IR after 8 weeks, whereas it had previously been 2. The 4th and 15 offer that they were discussing will not replace the onside kick, so the onside kick will stay the same. Teams can no longer manipulate the clock with multiple dead ball fouls before the 5 minute mark, like what we saw with the Titans do with the delay of game punting thing in the wild card game against the Patriots. And then there were also some minor protections for defenseless players on punt and kick returns. So nothing really too huge there, except for the 3 players off IR, which is pretty big, but to the fan, not really anything noticeable. Anyways, Patrick Mahomes. Sources are stating that it could be the first time in NFL history where a player's contract could pertain to a portion of the team's salary cap rather than a specific preset number value. And what I mean by that is rather than upfront saying he'll earn, say, 43 or so million in the first year and then 45 the next, it would be, these are just hypothetical numbers. He'd say he'd earn 20% of the team's salary cap in 2021 and then 22% of the team's total salary cap in 2023. So that way, as the salary cap increases, he'll earn more money because he is the best quarterback in the NFL and his value will always be increasing just like the salary cap. So to put this into perspective, Russell Wilson is making around $35 million this year, which is roughly 18% of the Seahawks' total salary cap, which is about $198 million as a team in 2020. So 20% of the team's salary cap is really not that far-fetched, especially considering how great of a player Mahomes is and how essential he is to the Chiefs' success. So, Kyle, what do you think about not only the big number that Mahomes will get, but also the salary cap portion of the contract thing, which means he'll make more money as the salary cap increases?
I think that Mahomes will probably get 1/4 of the team's salary cap. He's the best quarterback in the league. I mean, you saw it last year and the year before. I mean, he deserves the money. I mean, he does what he has to do out there. I think it's kind of crazy that one player could make that much money of the team's salary cap. I mean, it is the quarterback, the most important position out there. But if you, I mean, the Chiefs have so many people to pay that coming up. Like, I mean, Travis Kelce probably has a contract coming up. They just paid Tyreek. I think that paying him a percentage of the salary cap is gonna be rough. I think that they should probably just do a upfront deal. I think it'd be more smart, but whatever Mahomes wants, you gotta give it to him.
Yeah, Mahomes, I mean, he's just a special talent. You saw as soon as Alex Smith was putting him in the playoffs every year. He fit that system pretty well, but he never really gave him the over the top that they needed to get further into the playoffs. But with Mahomes, you have that element of just like pure success. He's just that dominant force on the offensive side of the football and really opens up that team. So with the amount of money that Mahomes is getting, probably going to have to get rid of Chris Jones. Well, they're definitely going to have to get rid of Chris Jones because he's making way too much money. He's making like $17 million off the salary or off the franchise tag this year. If you combine that with Mahomes making however much he's going to make, they just don't have enough money, especially with the Tyreek Hill signing, like you said. So, I mean, with the way that contracts are going, quarterbacks are making a lot of money. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, he makes 1/4 of the team's money, which would really cripple a situation. That's why winning the Super Bowl and building that Super Bowl team is really essential in the first couple of years of that rookie deal, like what the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson and the Chiefs. They got it done with Mahomes. They're really you got to really surround that young guy with lots of talent around him because that window is very short. Like you saw with the Seahawks, once Wilson got that contract, Legion of Boom fell apart, the defense fell apart. Now their defense not very good, and their offensive line sucks. So pouring all that money into one position really cripples the team as a whole. But you gotta keep it. Like, you gotta keep Mahomes, like you said. There's no way that they're not gonna sign him.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep Mahomes, of course, but the whole 1/4 of a team's contract or salary cap is so insane that it's just hard. I mean, like, you just aren't gonna have the positions that you need out there because all your money is going into the quarterback. I mean, if you look at Dak, he is asking for way too much, and the same thing might just happen to the Cowboys.
Yeah. and Dak definitely isn't on the level of Mahomes or Russell Wilson. I mean, he's great for what they have with that team around him, how great it is, how he always has a good O-line, He's got a great receiving core, great running back, great line, pretty good defense. For what is around him, he is pretty good. However, he's not that guy that'll push you over the top, kind of like what Jimmy Garoppolo is with the Niners. So obviously you can't pay Mahomes money to Dak, but the Cowboys might have to sign him because I don't know, Andy Dalton would not
That's an
provide
elite
much money.
quarterback. I'll
Like
stick
if
by
you put
Andy.
like if you put Dak on the Jets, he's not elevating the Jets team to be better than what it is. But with the Cowboys, because he's such a great leader, he really does well in that situation and he pushes that team to its limit, I would say.
I
Or
think
at least to its floor.
I think that if they don't pay him, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like, he is asking just way too much. And if he doesn't go lower, then say you just play Andy Dalton. I mean, you see what he did in the Bengals a few years back. I mean, he played pretty well for the situation he was in.
Yeah, Andy Dalton really like the Bengals were in some dark times in the early 2010s, and he elevated them. But then every time they got to the playoffs, he sold. He was a sellout. He was not doing anything, and that's why the Bengals had to move on. And I think that's what the dilemma that the Cowboys are facing with Dak. I think they're thinking to themselves like Dak is a great regular season guy. He's a great leader, but when it matters most, Dak's not going to get it done. That's just my opinion. I think Dak is overhated in every sense of the way. I don't think he's as bad as people say, but I also don't think he's as good as the Cowboys need him to be to really allow the Cowboys to reach their full potential, which is obviously being a Super Bowl champion. Because with that roster, it's definitely possible. But I don't really know if Dak is the guy necessarily. However, the Cowboys, I think they'll show loyalty and I think the deal will get done. Whether the Cowboys, fall to Dak's needs or Dak falls to the Cowboys' needs is left to be on the table. July 15th is the deadline to get that extension done before he has to sign that franchise tag. But personally, I think it gets done. However, not really sure if that's the best idea.
I don't think if I was the Cowboys, I just wouldn't do it. I mean, yeah, he's a great quarterback, but he's just asking for too much. He was not Mahomes. He's asking for way too much money to not even bring the Cowboys to a playoffs last year with that loaded roster. I mean, yeah, I just can't pay him. Like, it's just not happening. He's not as good as the Cowboys fans think. To be honest, I don't know. He's just not that good. I think I'd rather just not pay him and get a different quarterback out there. That's just
I
me.
mean, I understand that. He's pretty much exactly like Jimmy Garoppolo. Not exactly the same player because they're completely different players, but just in terms of what they provide. Like they're above average quarterbacks. They're probably in the top 15 or so. However, they make a lot of money, and they just have great teams around them, and it really elevates their success to I think higher than what it would be on a team like the Jets or the the Cardinals
The
or
Bengals.
yeah, exactly. Anything else you got to add, Kyle, or do you want to wrap it up there?
I think that's it. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about. I mean, Dak's just a little baby. I don't know.
So one last little thing here. It's expected that the coaches will return back to the teams this upcoming week, and mini camps will be looking like they'll start in June, and that's in-person mini camps. I think they'll be voluntary, just to make it better for the players. Make like if you're worried about coming, like then you are being forced to come.
Yeah,
So
don't go.
it's looking like, especially with the Dolphins owner Stephen Ross saying that there will definitely be a season. It's looking good for the NFL season. However, we don't know what it's going to be like in a couple months, but it looks like we're trending in the right direction, and I think that's a good spot to end it. End it on a good note.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see you. We'll see you guys next episode.
Peace.